Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. Hail Stalkers, I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are talking about storms across the Midwest and across the Mid-Atlantic today. We have severe storms that are targeting this area. We are expecting several severe thunderstorm warnings. Well, I take that back. We're expecting a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings this afternoon. However, it'll mainly be a wind-driven event. Strong wind speeds are likely. Hail is going to struggle today, and a few tornadoes also very likely. Multiple rounds of storms in this area. We got storms this morning. We're getting storms ongoing right now, and then storms later on this afternoon and evening. Tomorrow, our storms head out to the East Coast. So let's talk about those severe thunderstorm warnings that are ongoing right now. Now I'm going to zoom in to each one of these severe thunderstorm warnings. So let us know where you're watching from, and then we can kind of target your area and we can talk about your area, and you can see exactly what's going on where you're at. 1-inch size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust from Bridgeport to Midland, Saginaw, and Thomas. This is up in Michigan. Now we've got another severe thunderstorm warning just to the north of Detroit. Again, another 1-inch, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust warning here. Over 100,000 people included in this severe thunderstorm warning. We've got another one going into Pittsburgh right now. Now, are we going to see 1-inch, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts? No, we're talking about hail smaller than the size of an inch. So again, this is very, very wind driven. We've got a significant severe thunderstorm warning highlighted in this gold color. Now this is south of Pittsburgh, but again, we're just watching for about 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts here. So this is going to be a very common scene across the U.S., across the Mid-Atlantic today. This is going to be a mainly wind-driven event. Now we do have a wind report to give you guys. A large tree was reported down on a car, wires down on the roadway. This was in Southport, so technically in New York, just along the Pennsylvania and New York state line. So this is not the only scene that you're going to see of some strong wind today. We're expecting strong wind across this entire area through the afternoon hours. These storms will be ongoing through the afternoon and the evening hours. We're just getting started here. We have a level 3, an enhanced risk highlighted in orange, a level 2, a slight risk highlighted in yellow. What we're really watching for here is the amount of storms that we're going to get in this area. I think most people inside of this area will have some form of rain today. Your severe weather, well, you could have wind, maybe a tornado threat in this area, and we'll break that down for you here in just a few minutes. Highlighted in green, our marginal risk for tomorrow, that's a level 1, and then a slight risk highlighted there in yellow. Again, that's for Wednesday. By Thursday, things calm down significantly. We're not seeing as many storms on Thursday. However, we have to get there first, okay? So we've got this enhanced risk today. Yesterday, we saw a ton of hail across Michigan. I was really impressed about these storms yesterday, but that was really it. We really saw, other than that, a few storms across Iowa produced a little bit of hail, a little bit of wind in this area as well. For the most part, we missed out on a lot of that large hail yesterday. The hail just didn't perform like we expected it to. Today, we're not expecting a ton of hail either. Now, I do think that you've got the best chance anywhere from Columbus to Charleston to Pittsburgh, all the way up to Scranton, but I'm keeping those hail sizes pretty small for today. Most hailstones will be either the size of a quarter or smaller, but I do think in rare circumstances, we could get up to ping pong ball size hail, 1.5 inches in size. But again, that won't be widespread. That'll be pretty isolated. Highlighted in yellow, here's a look at your tornado forecast for today. Again, a lot of people included in this tornado forecast. We've got a line all the way down the East Coast, and then we've got another area that we're watching all the way back as far to the west as northern Kentucky. And then, of course, most of our New England states included in this tornado forecast today. This is a level 2 on a scale of 5. Multiple tornadoes possible, very similar to what we saw yesterday, where it was just round after round after round of tornado warnings. Now your wind forecast, this will be the most likely event today. Very widespread severe weather risk here. And if we put some more cities on the board, you can see exactly how many areas are involved in this wind threat today, which is again why I told you guys earlier, it's mainly a wind-driven event. Strong winds anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour is possible, but every now and then you can get those stronger winds up to 75, maybe 80 miles an hour. And again, that'll be this area highlighted in dark blue. So that'll be for storms today. They're ongoing right now, going to become more numerous as we head into the evening, afternoon, and evening hours. Watch some of these storms. Every now and then you'll start to see some of these storms create this backwards C-shape. Do you see that kind of right here, coming from the middle of Pennsylvania all the way down to the northern side of Virginia? What this means is we're going to see some very strong wind in these areas, and you can kind of see this in other areas as well. It's clusters or lines of storms that will signify some very strong wind and a few tornadoes embedded in this area, which is why we have that tornado threat all the way down the East Coast as these storms continue to track to the southeast as we head into the evening hours. So that's your severe weather risk across New England and the Mid-Atlantic. We haven't talked about Salt Lake City yet, and most of Utah included in the severe weather risk today. The main risk in this area is going to be some strong wind from these spotty pop-up showers and storms that will be ongoing on and off through most of this evening and overnight hours. Just keep an eye out for some strong wind in this area. So that's your big story across the country today. Now, if I take you off land and down to the Gulf, not the Atlantic, the Gulf, you can see that we've got a rotation down there. This is officially Tropical Storm Bertha, named our second named storm of the season yesterday. And to break down exactly what you can expect from this storm, I'm going to bring in meteorologist Martin Louermore.
Tropical system number 2 of the year, Bertha. We did have Arthur earlier this year, but now we have Bertha, who's a little bit stronger than Arthur was. If you remember, Arthur barely made it as a tropical storm, but now Bertha, you can actually see a very definitive area of rotation. There's that eye right there. It's kind of been meandering a little bit here and there, now currently moving north-northwest at 3 miles an hour. Wind gusts have actually gotten very strong. As Taylor said, Bertha just became a tropical storm only last night. Usually expect winds of around 40 miles an hour. Now Bertha has winds of 60 miles an hour. We're not expecting Bertha to become a hurricane, which is at 74 miles an hour, but Bertha will maintain some pretty good strength while it's over the Gulf right here, and it is eyeing some parts to make landfall just south of New Orleans. So you can see this track right here. Tuesday this evening, still around 60 miles an hour for those strongest winds, as it's expected to make landfall near the river delta of the Mississippi River, probably closer to around 45 miles an hour, so still impactful. That is constant, your constant wind speeds of 45 miles an hour. We are seeing gusts of about 70 for Bertha right now, so usually tack on about an extra 10 miles an hour. That's what you expect your gusts to be. And as of this moment right now, we're expecting Bertha to make landfall sometime in your Wednesday afternoon. So expected to make that westerly turn and probably staying right along the coast. Could impact Houston as a tropical depression, probably close to around your Friday morning by current forecast. So the wind is going to be one of the bigger impacts that we are seeing out of Bertha. You can see this is the possibility of 39 knots, which is your tropical storm strength wind speeds. Right now, the confidence of New Orleans seeing those winds around 10%, but places like Gulf Shores, Port Sulphur, right off of the coast of Louisiana, could be seeing some of those much stronger winds. You got Morgan City looking at a decent chance as well. And as this does continue its way across the coast, we could see this confidence increase as we get closer to that Friday. The other big thing we want to watch for is storm surge. It's a very limited area that could see some significant storm surge, anywhere from right along just near Tallahassee, just south of Tallahassee, all the way to just south of Lake Charles. Could be seeing a storm surge of 1 to 3 feet. But in between the mouth of the Mississippi River, that's right just south of New Orleans, and the border between Alabama and Mississippi, you're looking close to 2 to 4 feet. So not seeing huge storm surge, luckily, as we are seeing a lot of that water kind of at a downward turn moving away. But as it does move its way through, it still could pull up some of that water in between the mouth of the Mississippi River. A little more difficult to say than you think it would be, and the border of Mississippi and Alabama. So storm surge and wind speeds are probably going to be your 2 biggest threats. Luckily, we're not looking at a ton when it comes to rain. Most of the rainfall is staying much further to the south. You can see a lot of rain over the Gulf, but rain on water, not really a big issue there. We are still seeing, again, upwards to 1 to 2, maybe isolated 3 to 4 in some parts of southern Louisiana as Bertha does make its landfall across that around that Friday to Thursday or so. But for most of the coast, not seeing a huge flood risk. I believe it's only a level 1 flash flooding risk. Really, just if one of those bands do manage to get their way over the coast, we could see some heavier rain very short term. But with it expected to speed up as it makes its way over land, as most tropical storms do, more than likely not going to see a huge flash flooding threat. So luckily not a huge amount of rain, but we are going to still be seeing that possibility of storm surge and also the winds. That's probably the biggest impact. It's going to be that winds. But we're going to get back to Taylor in just a moment and get to that forecast.
Thanks, Martin. Yeah, we appreciate that breakdown. Now, this is Bertha on satellite right now, and what you can see is that we've got some dry air that's trying to move into the system. And I think what's very interesting about this system right now is it's very lopsided. What we're seeing is a very difficult picture of how to find the center of Bertha. Now, we could do that if we had a pressure chart on here. Maybe some winds would help as well. But I went ahead and I would just put the little cartoon drawing of our tropical storm on here so that you can see the center of Bertha. Again, we've got some dry air that's trying to move in here that's going to hurt the development of this storm. But as Martin said, it is expected to contain or consistently continue that tropical storm strength as it continues to head to the west. Now, this reminds me of Hurricane Barry back in 2019, not 2025, 2019. If you remember, it formed in the northern side of the Gulf, very similar to Bertha, continued to track to the west. However, it was quickly moved up to the north and caused a lot of flooding across Mississippi. However, what we're watching for Bertha is going to be more of a westerly track as that continues into the southern portion of Texas. So we'll have to watch over the next few days. It is moving very slow right now. What will Bertha do? We'll keep you guys updated. Now, for this week in tropical cyclone history, where do storms usually form? We've got a lot of storms that oftentimes form in the southern portion of the Atlantic. This is a very, very favorable area for storms, especially for those stronger storms like those Category 5s that you can see here highlighted in this light pink color. Other storms forming in the northern Atlantic, not as favorable for this time of the year. Usually that's a later season type of phenomenon. And then we've got a few storms that form in the northern Gulf, just like Barry and Bertha. All right, let's go and let's talk about storms tomorrow. So let's go back onto land and let's talk about your forecasted max hail size tomorrow. Hail not looking good. It's a lot more fun to talk about those tropics, right? Because your hail tomorrow not looking great. You've got a little bit of wind for those storms out on the East Coast, Roanoke all the way down to Raleigh and Charlotte, North Carolina. You could see some strong winds from this. Philadelphia, Boston, Portland, a lot of people could get hit with that rain. 60 to 75 mile per hour wind speeds are absolutely possible. Your tornado forecast for tomorrow is pretty isolated, and you can see that highlighted here in green, anywhere from Raleigh all the way to Richmond. We've got a question on here, is Texas going to get any rain this week? Most likely. Will the entire state of Texas get some rain? Probably. Nicholas, where are you at in Texas? And I can help to see how much rain you're going to get. I do have a graph or a map of Texas, and I can give you a little bit of a help for your future radar. Now, are you asking because you're looking, ooh, Austin, okay. Maybe later in the week. That was my next question. Are you looking because you're asking about the potential for severe weather like hail? Because that's going to be a probably a promise for no hail this week in Austin. However, you could get some rain coming in from this slow-moving system, Bertha, of course, as it continues to track almost straight to the west. You can see that some of these outer bands are really trying to encroach on Texas as we head into the later portion of the week, so potentially making its first landfall around the later side of Wednesday, most likely, maybe in midday, and then we're finally starting to see some of those outer bands moving on to the southern portion of Texas as we head into early Thursday. So we're talking about Houston getting hit first, and then a few more bands moving into just north of Houston by Thursday afternoon. So will Austin get any storms? I would say later in the week, maybe Thursday or Friday. Will you have any hail with this? No. I do not think that you'll have any hail this week in Austin. Great questions. It will be hot. I can promise you that. It will be hot in Austin this week. Can't promise you rain. I can almost promise no hail. It will be hot, I can promise that. Hey, you don't get promises from meteorologists too often, right? We're always like 20% chance, 30% chance, but I can promise you it's going to be hot. Okay, wind forecast. We talked about this already. The East Coast here, we've got a low tornado threat for tomorrow, and that just about does it for our severe weather for the foreseeable future, okay? So we've got our severe risks today, very impressive wind risk and tornado risk across the mid-Atlantic and the East Coast. Tomorrow, we have a level 1 and 2 risk for both wind and tornadoes, but a very low hail chance for tomorrow. By Thursday, things start to quiet down a little bit, but I do think that we could see some activity. After that, we just have to wait for this high pressure system, which I think I have a graphic for. Let's take a look at this high pressure system. We have to wait for it to move just a little bit. Even if it could move down to the south, it could make way for another low pressure system to come across the Midwest or the East Coast. But right now it looks like it's building. It's building across the Four Corners. It's building across Colorado and Oklahoma as we head into the end of this week and early next week. Now we finally start to see that next low pressure system coming down from Canada early next week. But again, we have to wait for that to happen. It's going to be slow moving for these storms going forward. Oh yeah, it looks like that high pressure system really wants to stick around. So what does that mean for the rest of us? If you're not getting rain, here's your rainfall. Here's your 24-hour rainfall. So over the past 24 hours, where have we seen rain? You can almost pinpoint exactly where that high pressure system is, where there's no rain. It's been hot in these areas. I think that today was supposed to be the hottest day of the year so far in Oklahoma. We were talking about heat indices earlier in Oklahoma reaching over 110, which is absolutely insane. Temperatures will stay warm, which is why we have these heat advisories and excessive heat warnings across this area, not only for Oklahoma, but also down into Texas, Austin included in that. Missouri, Louisiana, southern portion of Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi, all included in those excessive heat alerts. How long is it going to stay hot? Let's get back on track here. Temperatures are going to stay above normal in this area all the way through the end of this week and continuing into the weekend. We've got a little bit of a cool down that gets pushed out very, very quickly as these temperatures continue to stay in the 90s and triple digits over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 days. It's that summertime heat and it's not going away anytime soon. There's just tons of pinks on the board. Dave says it's hot in Tennessee too. Yes. I mean, look, I can see you guys in the reds and the oranges over here. Now, how hot are we talking, Dave? Like 93, 95, triple digits? I don't think I have a number for Tennessee, but I see you guys in the orange and the red, so I know that it's very, very hot in this area. Do you guys have any heat alerts? Let's see. What are we talking about right now? Oh yeah, heat advisories, which means temperatures could be anywhere between 90 and 115, depending on what your National Weather Service criteria for that heat advisory is. And then if you're in the far western portion of the state, you have an excessive heat warning. Make sure you drink tons of water. This is your friendly reminder to drink tons of water today. Stay hydrated because the more that you sweat, the more you lose that water, the more dehydrated you get. You guys know the drill here. I'm looking at this map and I'm just like, it's gonna stay hot for a while. I mean, look at this, July 26th through the 30th, temperatures are likely to be above average through the rest of July. I told you guys that that heat was not going away anytime soon, and that's what the maps show as well. What about your rainfall? Well, you guys asked about rain down in Texas. It looks like you have the highest likelihood for below average rainfall chances all the way through the end of this month. July 26th through the 30th, this entire area could stay below average for this time of the year. So it's going to be hot and it's going to be mostly dry. Thank the high pressure system for that. We're not at fault for the weather. We just report it to you. But we, of course, will continue to report the weather to you. So follow us on all forms of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, or give us a call for your hail, wind, and tornado maps. As that system, Bertha, makes its way closer and closer to the U.S., we're going to get some strong winds from that. And we'll be mapping that for you. So stay prepared. Give us a call at 855-334-4245. We also have maps from the last 10 years at HailTrace.com. So find your area. You can find a map in your area, and you can work areas that have been hit earlier this year or earlier last year. Head over to our website, HailTrace.com, or email us at info@HailTrace.com. All right, we'll see you guys this time, same place.